Why are these kind of attacks increasing?
I think there are multiple reasons, perhaps, but it seems like systematic, part of a deliberate strategy to derail public confidence as well as thwart NATO's plans for the future of Afghanistan. Essentially, especially over the past 3 years, there was a sense that the Afghan National Security Forces were going to pick up much of the work on the field and take control as NATO withdraws. And the enemy, the Taliban and others, have pretty much picked up on that. Another problem, obviously, is that there has been more of an insistence on numbers than the Afghan National Security Forces as opposed to quality. And that sort of an emphasis leaves the force vulnerable to a lot of infiltration, as well as it actually also kind of assumes a sense of a more relaxed vetting process.
So are we saying that these attacks are the result of infiltrators who've been deliberately planted there, or are they, they're attacks that happen when the perpetrator just snaps over something?
Frankly put, there isn't much of a conclusive evidence in support of any of the arguments, but what we could tell is that increasingly the focus has been on training and developing the Afghan National Security Forces to both take the fight to the Taliban as well as develop public confidence. 7 or 8 months ago, there was an immense surge in public confidence in the National Security Forces of Afghanistan. They had managed to thwart and hit back on several Taliban attacks. After that, we've seen an increase in these insider attacks. It has definitely damaged the image of the National Security Forces, created a lot of wedge between the Afghan forces and the international forces, and all that could be suggestive of the fact that the enemy is behind all that.
And as you say, it's causing a lot of mistrust between Afghan police and NATO troops. Is there anything that can be done, perhaps by NATO, perhaps by the Afghan government, to reduce these attacks?
I think there's a lot that could be done. Within that, there's a lot of homework that the Afghan government needs to do, specifically on perhaps creating a more careful command system, as well as better vetting processes. But also what doesn't help is statements recently coming out from both NATO and the Afghan government. There isn't much of an emphasis on vetting, on increasing the quality of the force, but there's much more discussions of cultural differences or discussions of behavioral matters on the field that impact these things. I frankly put, I'm very much, I'm an non-believer in those things.